We don't know exactly when Donald Trump is going to accept reality when it comes to the presidential election, but we do know that behind the scenes, both Donald and the rest of his family, that whole, sort of inner circle, are planning ahead for their next steps. And joining us now to give us an idea of what forms those next steps might come in is Washington correspondent for Business Insider and the author of Piety and Power, Mike Pence and the Taking of the White House, Tom LoBianco. Welcome to the Damage Report.
John, thanks for having me on.
Very glad to have you here. Enjoyed your article on Business Insider, which is about what this whole squad is going to be doing. So I know there's been multiple sources and they don't always agree, but what is an idea of some of what the planning that's happening right now?
Yeah, I think I got started on this in a discussion with a former Trump 2016 campaign advisor, and he made a really interesting point. This was about a week or so ago. He said, look, if you look at where the family is going, and generally speaking, of course, we refer to the Trump family as like the oldest children, the ones with the most political ambitions. Although I guess you could throw Tiffany Trump in the mix too. She's been showing up more she had been showing up more on the campaign trail. But looking at where Trump Jr. is going, not Eric Trump so much, but his wife, Laura Trump. And what you see is what I started to pick up on, and some other folks have noticed, is that they're really hitting like every corner of the conservative Republican ecosphere right now. And it's not necessarily just running for office. And of course, Trump Jr. is the name that comes off the most often for that. Define irony, though, his father would probably be the one to box him out of running for president down the road. Assuming that's real, we have to see, right? But look, Trump Jr., folks close to Trump Jr. were telling me that, yes, he was looking at running for the NRA, the job of held by Wayne LaPierre over at the NRA, which is the executive vice president and CEO. Now, I will say this. We got some very hard pushback from other people close to Trump Jr. saying, no effing way, that's not happening at all. Trump Jr. himself also tweeted in response to the story and said, nope, not doing that. Definitely don't want to do that. I talked with a few of my original sources on that. And they tend to view that as, Trump Jr. was trying to position himself for this. Maybe it got exploded when it came out in public, so now it's not going to be very successful anymore. But generally speaking, what I think you're seeing is the Trump family writ large trying to sink its claws into power right now. And frankly, there's a lot of people on the right who have been waiting for them to leave. So that it's not a guarantee.
Yeah, so really fast, I know we don't know for sure with Trump Jr., but did the initial sources explain why he was interested in that position?
Yeah, a lot of the same calculations that you see from the other kind of prospective 2024 candidates in the Republican field. It's, how do you, one, not fight against Trump, seeing as how he is still the dominant force on the right now. Two, how do you find yourself a good perch so you stay in the public eye? For him, of course, he wants to be in the big political battle going forward. And there's only so many books you can write that'll keep you out there. I guess you could pump out a book a month. I don't know. I've never done that. I don't know how to do that.
No, me neither. So he's like the main kid is Don Jr. What about Ivanka? Are she and Jared just expecting to be able to reestablish themselves as New York area elites, like the same social circles, or do they have a particular plan too?
Yeah, I think that one's kind of that idea had more or less was deep sixed by the entire Trump administration. So I don't hear that they're going to be able to do that again. There's been some reports out there that they're going to go back to New Jersey, maybe move back to Trump's golf course there, live at a quote unquote cottage on the grounds. I'm sure it's not actually a cottage. It's something probably nicer than that. One thing that we reported about back in October and we've been keeping close tabs on is this Trump media effort. You hear from various parts of Trump world that they're looking at creating some sort of either a competitor to Fox News or something in the lane of like The Blaze and Newsmax and sort of like an online outlet. And for Jared Kushner in particular, that that was a discussion leading up to the election. Now, how realistic is that? Don't know. What I do hear from Trump advisors is that looking at Jared and Ivanka, they tend to be the more cautious, the more strategic of the family members. So they would be more inclined to kind of hang back. So where Trump Jr. might go out in front and try to stay in the public eye more often, they're more inclined to kind of hang back, see where the chips fall, and then make a move. And that could be years from now. It's still hard to tell.
And I thought I had heard some sort of rumor about possibly Don Jr. or maybe Kimberly Guilfoyle trying to sort of take over the RNC.
Yes, that's right. So we reported that back in August, I think, right after the RNC, the convention, the pseudo convention that they had, and back then, look, a lot of Trump world was talking up Kimberly Guilfoyle, his girlfriend, as RNC chair. Now that was if Trump won. Obviously, that changed. But the funny thing is, if you look at it, it didn't really change that much because the idea was that Trump would still get to pick whoever is going to run the Republican Party machinery. And that's an important thing because that is the group, the RNC, which determines how the nomination goes. So, I mean, that's effectively who picks the next nominee for president for their party. So it didn't change an awful lot from Guilfoyle, though, because you remember Trump himself, probably like 3 or 4 weeks ago, endorsed Ronna McDaniel to stay on as the RNC chair. And it looks like that's going to happen, but I'll tell you, there have been a lot of people very frustrated by that on the right because it looks like a guy who's possibly running for president in 24, trying to hold the nomination machinery, which is a little frustrating for them, frankly.
For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.